tensions that they really weren't able to get through by the end of the week.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune said that they would pick up the work on the bill when they return in June. But getting to a resolution might be a harder path. The number of children separated from their parents by President Trump's immigration crackdown is much larger than previously understood. A heads up, this next story talks about violence towards children. More than 200,000 kids are estimated to have had a parent detained since the mass deportation campaign started last year. That's according to a new report released this week by the Brookings Institution, a nonpartisan think tank. And roughly 3 out of 4 of those children are U.S. citizens. This puts the estimated total of family separations during Trump's second term much higher than his first, in which about 5,000 children were separated from their families. The report released this week by the Brookings Institution, a nonpartisan think tank. And roughly 3 out of 4 of those children are U.S. citizens. This puts the estimated total of family separations during Trump's second term much higher than his first, in which about 5,000 children were separated from their families. Over 1,000 kids are still unaccounted for today. For its part, the Department of Homeland Security has said that it does not separate families, and that parents are asked if they want to be removed with their children or placed with a person the parent designates. To estimate the scope of family separations in Trump's second term, Brookings used census data to guess how many children people detained by the administration have. That's because the Trump administration doesn't track how many children have been separated from their parents, which Washington Post reporter Maria Sacchetti told us was not always the case.
ICE used to issue an annual report telling the public how many people they deported, how many families they deported, how many unaccompanied minors they deported. Since Trump took office, we've been living in a black hole as far as data. We don't have any of that information.
Sacchetti told us about a toddler named Orlean living in Florida, a U.S. citizen who was separated from his mother, Wendy Hernandez Reyes, when she was arrested by local police, who turned her over to ICE and eventually deported her to Honduras. Hernandez Reyes had no criminal record, according to her lawyer. She told Sacchetti that ICE had ignored her requests to take her son with her.
Wendy thought it would be safer for Orlean to be with his cousins.
Didn't they just say that they give them the option to be with their kids?
Yeah.
But I've heard them be like, nah, he'll stay because he's a U.S. citizen.
Into the care of his uncle, who drank heavily and abused the children.
They don't give you a choice.
During that time, Orlean died from multiple blunt force traumas, and his uncle has been charged with murder.
ICE has said from the beginning they want parents to go home with their children. And so the question is, why didn't you facilitate that? Why didn't you make sure this child had an American passport so that he could get on the plane? Why didn't you let his mother take him? And another big question is, how many other people has this happened to?
ICE did not respond to Sacchetti's questions about how officers handled Orlean's case or if they checked on him after he was separated from his mom. Sacchetti reports that nothing in federal law requires ICE or other agencies to check in with a child's caregiver after detaining parents. Agency policy is to follow parents' wishes, including removing them together. But lawyers told her that is often ignored. The acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, said Hernandez Reyes had, quote, abandoned Orlean and blamed her for his death. She told Sacchetti she wants ICE to be held accountable and that she hopes to return to the U.S. to bury her son.
The son, was he 4? The 4-year-old? No! I would not return to bury my son.
Roughly
I would return with the cartel.
Packing up their cars.
What?
They gave the son to the uncle, and the uncle killed him.
That's still on them. That's still on them too. And they're still liable too because she said, give me my baby. You didn't give her a baby. Did you even ask if the uncle could have it? Did you check for criminal records or anything?
Memorial Day weekend.
Pass him to some psychotic piece of shit.
And many will be preparing themselves for a pricier journey.
The national average gas price today is about $4.55.
Why do innocent babies get in
couple of weeks? You don't even
shit
have to
like
go
this?
back
Crossfire. It's always kids. Moms lose sons.
Keith Lang is an automotive reporter for USA Today Cars.
I checked on February 28th, the average price of gas was $2.98, and for most of last year, the average price was close to $3.
Prices are now approaching the all-time highs of 2022, and some analysts warned the summer could set a new record if the Strait of Hormuz remains shut. Consumer confidence is now at record lows, and supermarkets like Walmart are warning that sales will soon drop as gas eats up more of a household budget. But despite that, people don't seem to be canceling trips. Instead,
They don't care.
they're making adjustments.
Some of that is people are taking shorter trips, and on your shorter trip, driving is going to be more efficient, more economical
Bitch,
than
we
flying.
walking.
But there's not been a cutback in the amount of demand or the vehicle
It'd be
miles
cheaper
that
to
are
pay
traveled.
$50 to take a ferry.
Yeah. But I think people
Yeah, it
are
would.
assuming that
$50.
this is
It'd be cheaper to drive our
temporary,
car.
and if it
Really?
goes
Oh, yeah,
longer
your car.
than people
Well, if
anticipate,
you didn't have
then
your
you
car.
might see some of those
Honestly, a
behavior
ferry's a
changes.
trip already.
The price increases are not evenly
Yeah.
spread, so some parts of the country will be feeling it more than others. In California, the average price per gallon is now more than $6. In Texas, it's just above $4. Lang told us there's a lot of reasons why the costs differ so much.
There's the federal gas tax, which is about 18 cents a gallon, and each state usually tax on their own gas tax, and then there's the cost that they have
Their own gas
to
tax.
transport the gas. Gas typically costs more in states that are further away from ports where the oil comes in. So there's a lot of factors that go into the number that you
Vermont's gonna make
see
me
on the
pay
gas station side.
150
To ease the
bucks
financial
a year
pain,
just
and the political
because
pain for that
I don't
matter,
buy
the federal
gas.
government has flirted with the idea of suspending the federal gas tax. And some states have already paused their own to provide relief. Lang also had some ideas for how you could personally save at the pump. Things like skipping premium grade fuel when you're filling up, and paying cash when stations offer a discounted price for not using your credit card.
If you can run a couple of errands
Where's
in
my
the same
bigger
trip that
bag?
are in
Or
the same
electric.
direction, so you're not
Electric
making
car.
multiple trips, that's the way you can save.
If you spend a little bit of money and get some solar at your house and you charge, and if you have less than a 30-mile commute daily back and forth, a lot of people, it could be free after a while if you just spend the money on solar.
How about I spend the money on beating your ass?
That's what we do. That's what we're doing at our house, baby.
Well, how about I
Yeah,
spend
so
the
we're
money
buying-
on beating your ass?
We're gonna buy some
What are you
solar,
gonna do when
and we're
I
gonna
beat your
have
ass?
a little EV backup, and that's what we're gonna be doing.
EV.
But if we have to drive a lot, then obviously you're gonna charge. But I've saved well over $2,000 this year by only using the free chargers that I can walk to, or just using a little bit of solar.
Walk to? How are you gonna walk to that?
The one by Xfinity.
Why are you walking to it?
If I need to walk, if we're going to the store, like let's say we're going to
Your car needs to
CVS. Let's say
charge.
we're going to CVS and we're really low, really low, and I don't want to spend $5. Why would we park at CVS when I can just across the street from CVS there's a free charger?
You're parking.
You just go to the free charger and then walk to CVS and then you come back and then you low. You know. Walmart was supposed to have some, but they decided to make people pay for them, so we can't use those ones. Mom said someone's got to water the lettuce for people in downstairs.
Lettuce?
Yep, she forgot to water the plants.
Oh. You guys have lettuce growing?
I guess so.
I don't be eating vegetables like that. But I hear growing them. 8 minutes from home and I can finally wash my face.
I know I really get the
Same. Go to separate bathrooms.
piss. I get the big one.
You can have it, I don't give a shit.
But I hate the fucking government gonna charge me more money because I was driving an electric car. Fuck you.
There
Scrape
were
every fucking
suggestions
dollar they
about
can.
getting gas on certain days of the
charge you
week
more
when
money 'cause I
it's
hate
usually
you.
cheaper, or using grocery points or apps like Gas Buddy to comparison shop without having to drive around. Like you kind of figure out where the cheapest station around you are without driving by and looking at the signs and wasting more gas.
Ultimately, though, he said there was only one way to get prices back to where they were.
Most experts say that the Strait of Hormuz is going to have to be
Bro said
open and
experts.
have the same type
That's
of
common
unfettered
sense.
access
That's the only
that
way we're getting
the
fucking
oil
gas. They
companies
gotta have
had
experts on
before
the pricing.
this military situation
Have to,
started.
you know?
You can just say
And
common
They
knowledge.
that's
just
going
have to have
be the
common
case for a
experts and a
while
whole team
before
of
you start seeing the
scientists and
prices come
everybody
down,
up on it.
because there's so much uncertainty, and until it's just open and they can plan for it, you probably won't see prices come down.
I don't mind not seeing prices come down. Although most
Before we let you go, a few other stories were following.
Goes up.
U.S. officials diverted an inbound plane traveling from Paris for violating new entry restrictions regarding the Ebola virus. Anyone
Nice.
who's traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the last 3 weeks is not permitted on U.S. soil without an American passport.
Nice.
That order is in effect for the next month. Officials say the passenger who is from Congo got on the Air France flight in error and should never have been allowed on board. So they rerouted the flight to Canada, where the passenger was checked by health officials who found no symptoms of Ebola.
Send them to Canada.
So the passenger flew back to Paris. Health officials say the disease can only be transmitted by people with symptoms. So far, at least 160 suspected deaths and close to 700 cases are tied to the outbreak. In Washington, the Democratic National Committee released a long-awaited report that tries to make sense of how the party lost the 2024 election. The delay in publishing it had drawn criticism for months, and yesterday the party chairman, Ken Martin, found himself in the awkward position of saying it did not meet his standards. The report described a number of political and tactical
It didn't meet
errors.
my standards either.
It suggested the campaign failed to make a, quote, affirmative case for Harris, questioned the effectiveness of its voter organizing efforts, and pointed fingers at the White House for not preparing Harris to be Biden's successor. Notably, the report made no mention of Biden's age or Gaza, two issues that animated many voters. And finally, as the prestigious Cannes Film Festival wraps up this weekend, one movie stood out from the field. It had a $500,000 budget, $400,000 of which went to AI computing costs. The action-adventure movie called Hellgrind became the first fully AI-generated film to debut at the festival. The Wall Street Journal reports it took 2 weeks to make, with AI creating every character, set, and prop. Every prompt fed to the AI models produced 15 seconds of film, meaning the creators had to get extremely detailed to make a 95-minute movie that looked cohesive. So if you think your rambling questions to ChatGPT are too long, just know the makers of Hellgrind were regularly writing 6 pages worth of instructions on average to get the outcomes they wanted. You can find all these stories and more in the Apple News app. And if you're already listening to the News app right now, stick around for this week's episode of Apple News in Conversation. It's one from the archives, where Shamita spoke with New Yorker staff writer Evan Osnos about how the gap between America's poor and the ultra-wealthy got so big.
You know, back in 1965, it's easy to forget this now, but the CEO of a typical large public company would make, on average, about 20 times what the frontline workers at those companies made. And it grew steadily over time to the point that today, the median CEO of a large public company makes about 350 times what a frontline worker makes.
If you're listening in the podcast app, you can follow Apple News in Conversation to find that episode. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Our team will be off on Monday for Memorial Day, but we'll be back with the news on Tuesday.
Well, that's why I don't work on Monday, Memorial Day. I figured. I kept thinking this is Memorial Day.
Go figure, Gracie.
People wish grab a happy Memorial Day.
The iOS 27, there's going to be a flood of rumours. It looks like a flood of them are going to be AI. But what are the headline rumours that you believe?
Alright, so
I believe that your phone will get it.
maybe not frustratingly, but it's one of those situations where
Baby,
normally we come into this season saying,
what are you doing with your face?
we don't know what's going on at WWDC, we can get ideas by extrapolating from previous releases and what features are available, what features are popular, because Apple software does not leak. It really doesn't. John Prosser allegedly basically robbed someone to get a hold of liquid glass early and still didn't get enough data to really leak it properly. But every now and then, things get through, and it appears Mark Gurman at Bloomberg has some sort of, this is my assumption, I don't know, I don't have any inside details, either he or someone leaking to him has a pre-alpha or internal beta build of iOS 27 and has been...
Yeah, I missed this.
Yeah, it's been going on for weeks. We've covered other leaks in previous episodes, but now, after there's a pattern emerging, once or twice a week, he comes out with a report with 2 or 3 headlining features. This AI feature is coming to iOS 27. It's not like the leakers just randomly calling him saying, I found another one. I think they got it all at once, and they've just been eking it out, which, to be fair, that's how this kind of coverage works.
Yeah, drip feeding, keep you hooked,
keep people interested, keep them coming back. It's, and it's not life or death here. It's not like he's covering up, some coup or something. It's just secret Apple features that realistically nobody should care about. I had some thoughts on this, and I wonder if you reflect this, William, before we get to the actual rumors. How do you feel about software leaks like iOS versus hardware leaks like an iPhone?
Oh, I've never thought of the difference, and I immediately know.
I have no idea.
Well, I suppose the broad level is I'm not that fussed either way. It was helpful to me to know that an iPad Pro M5 was likely to be coming. When I was in the market, I I might
When I was
very
in the
well have bought
market, they tried to sell
2 months
me.
early for it, so I appreciated it for that. With software, I love software apps, so I like
I
the
love
music
software
out of it, but
apps.
I'd rather wait
Everyone.
until I can actually
This is
use
she
it.
trying to get me to listen
Okay.
at night, bro.
This
As
is
soon as
why
I hear
of
I
course,
love
not going to jump on the beta of iOS 27 when
Go
it's
to
out.
bed.
We have to watch
Definitely
our cards.
not. No.
I have so
but
much to do
news
in
of
the
little
bedroom.
features for it.
Okay, well, you're gonna do
I'm
better
tantalised,
too
but
with
I'd
me.
be okay if we didn't get them.
Are you gonna do
How do you
better?
feel about
they
these
help me
two?
watch 2 p.m.
Stupid
So
liar.
the
So you pick
biggest
one,
issue
bedroom
I
or
have,
car?
and I think it's
We
true
have
for
to
both
do the
accounts,
bedroom.
but
We have to
especially
do our
for
clothes.
software,
You never help me with that shit. I
kind
know
of
it's gonna be all
disappointment
me.
for
2 p.m. is when we're gonna watch our car.
I'm not watching no car at 2
Thank you.
p.m. Oh, fuck you.
Thank you.
1, 2,
2 p.m. baby. 30-minute timer. 30 minutes. Where's the doggo?
What does the dog say?
Well. Looky here. But we're back. Good thing Mom's not taking the truck no more. I don't know why she's been consistently driving the truck when it's got
Back
worse
from the
mileage.
dungeon, the Mac got extended free. What is that
Who's
stuff?
fishing shit is in the fucking waiver.
Wait
Fuck. Make it work.
up.